Welcome to another CoH2 replay cast on Port of Hamburg, and we are going to be facing a replay by Davide today, who sent it in, and his own allies are going to be Katyusha 101 playing as the USF, Robert Michael playing as the British, and The Walking Dead also playing as the British. Now, you will have to excuse me for this replay. My graphics got turned down to low for some reason because Company Fear just does that sometimes. So you have to bear with really shitty graphics. Yeah, it doesn't really improve performance, so I'm really not sure why the game just automatically does that. I don't know, whatever. I still get from 30 to 60 FPS constantly, and it's just, okay. So, the enemies are going to be Onyxio playing as the OKW, Cloudy with occasional rain playing as Wehrmacht, Talentfrei playing as Wehrmacht, and Jaho playing as OKW. So, Port of Hamburg, very, very interesting map. Kind of an, usually considered an Axis favored map, because of the fact that there's a lot of choke pointiness to it, and my volume is low. Mostly because of the fact that, well, of course, there's a bit of choke pointiness to it. MGs rule a few of the areas of the map fairly well, and with MG42s, Wehrmacht players can make a lot of ground control happen. So, Engineers are going to be facing the Pioneers in close range. The Pioneers are likely going to win that fight the longer it goes on, but we do have a Maxim from Tier 2 being brought up to assist, and also a Conscript Squad that is capturing this fuel point. So it looks like the Allies might be acquiring the fuel point, but there is an MG42, as said, by Cloudy with occasional rain. Unfortunately for the Pioneers, it looks like they lost the fight, which is kind of interesting. I was expecting the opposite to happen, but clearly I was wrong. And we also have a Kubuwagen by Jaho on the right side, which is a interesting unit on this map, especially as a 4v4. I really don't agree with it because, in my opinion, the Kubuwagen is more useful because of, obviously, its map control capabilities, which on this map aren't as important because, well, the points are all nearby. They can easily be caught by infantry anyway. On the left side, we have a pretty big conglomerate of Axis forces going to be suppressing the Conscript Squads, and also going to be forcing to retreat the Riflemen, and there's a Mortar squad by Cloudy. So he's going to be able to at least force away the Riflemen from the building, so chooses. Not sure where you use the barrage of the Mortar, but I would definitely have used it over here against the building. So we have a Maxim capping up in the rear, and it's going to be probably brought up to the middle soon enough. Pioneer's going to be repairing the Kubuwagen, so that's kind of interesting. We have two breakthrough doctrines being selected by Onyxio and Jaho, which is very interesting. Onyxio is floating a lot of manpower already, which is definitely a mistake. He should be building a couple of more Volksgrenadier squads. And trying to set up his truck. He is at least setting up his truck, so that's good. And he's probably going to be using some of that manpower on the retreat point, and maybe a little bit on the Sturm Officer. Very lucky that that grenade does not wipe the Sturm Pioneer that was retreating through it. So that's kind of interesting. And now the Maxim machine gun from Davide is going to be setting up and dealing a nice bit of suppression against the German units, but there is a mortar down here that's going to be able to counter the Maxim with pretty much accurate fire if it can manage to do that. The Allies, though, have managed to take control of the right side, even if they are struggling a bit on the left. We have a Universal Carrier with the Vickers, a machine gun being upgraded by Robert Michael. He's also got a sniper coming on the field, so that's definitely a good choice with Tier 1 against Wehrmacht. Against OKW, not as much, but still very useful, especially with the way Talentfrei is playing with 3 machine guns, two of whom were forced to retreat back to the base, where there is a medic bunker, which is good. We also have another medical HQ by Jaho. Now, in my opinion, if the medical bunker had been built more over here, perhaps a mechanized regiment headquarters would have been a better choice for Jaho, just to try to get out some kind of early vehicle to surprise the enemy, especially the British player. Or rather, both of the British players. The second British player also going for Tier 1 with Royal Engineers coming up. He's gone for Royal Engineer Regiment, so it's definitely going to be important to get out those units that can build emplacements to use that standfast ability, and also perhaps soon enough, when he does have the manpower, a brain carrier to designate as a command vehicle would be a good choice for The Walking Dead. Katyusha 101, not sure what went as a doctrine choice or a tech choice. He hasn't still chosen which is interesting considering he has 90 fuel, in my opinion. He went for Armor Doctrine, which, in my opinion, is better suited to both Captain and Lieutenant, because when you go for Captain and Lieutenant, and then you go for a lot of M10s. But with the way he's floating fuel, I would advise for a Captain into a Steward, which would work out as well. We have a sniper, a double sniper actually, by Robert Michael. That's very interesting, actually. He's going to be pretty much caught out of position by these Grenadiers with G43s. Cloudy with occasional rain going for Elite Troops Doctrine. It's going to be very important to for him to keep a mobile, vetted up, and balanced force available for the Tiger Ace to support. Wait, why is it 17? I was left with the Tiger Ace being 18 CPs. I don't know, that's really weird. We've got a little bit of a defensive stalemate on the right side, and that favors the Allies because, one, they're the British and they're really good at this kind of warfare. Second, they're just in general in control of the resources that are on the right side, especially the victory point and the fuel point. So it doesn't really bother the Allies on the right side too much if there's a stalemate. Now, unfortunately, on the left side, it's the same thing, but with roles reversed, whereas the Axis over here is content with the stalemate. So we're gonna be seeing Kiske over here building some fuel, or rather munitions caches, which is good. David is probably also floating. No, he's not floating any manpower. It looks like he's taking a few losses. A demo charge is over here. In my opinion, this is not positioned correctly. The demo charge should be positioned over here, just to because if the enemy is gonna go capping over here, the demo charge would be better placed where they're going to cap, which is over here. They're going to stop here. They're not going to go all the way around the point. So we have a bunker by Cloudy. A few bunkers are always pretty just common sight on this map because, as you can see, just like machine guns, it's the same argument. They can cover so much ground on a map like this that they're kind of useful, so a lot of people go for them. We have a mortar by Davide, which is definitely a good choice, but I would argue that it would be more important for him to tech up right now. His engineers are coming back to the base, so we'll see if he can manage to get tier 3. We have a flame grenade going to be thrown at the machine gun. Machine gun going to be retreating out of the flame grenade fast enough. Conscripts still walking into it and taking a casualty. That's kind of unfortunate. Storm Pioneers being pretty much lying in ambush on the other side of the wall, which is definitely a good choice. In my opinion, it would be also a good choice to spring the ambush right now and go for the conscripts. We also have a support gun being built by Onyxio, so definitely getting some use out of his tier 1, also with the infrared half-track, which is a really good choice for these kinds of defensive long games. And the conscripts are going to go down to the Pioneers. As you can see, the Pioneers always a very useful unit at close range, and again, if the demo charge had been over here, right now the Pioneers would have been blown up. Rather, he could have blown up the Pioneers. Universal Carrier is still alive with 2 kills, so not too much there. So there's really not much going on right now. We have a slight German push in the center, but it's really no biggie right now. The 2 snipers are going to be easily able to defeat that. And again, in my opinion, well, not again, in my opinion, really, Robert Michael should be working on getting his snipers healed up. But other than that, it seemed pretty okay. He went for, I'm pretty sure he lost an infantry section? No, oh god, I fucking failed. Pretty sure he lost an infantry squad. No, he just didn't build any. That's very interesting. He didn't build any infantry sections. That's kind of weird. We usually don't see that. He also went for Tactical Support Regiment, which is an excellent choice for the artillery cover. It's a pretty good ability, and also the air resupply operation is fairly underrated. It airdrops for 150 munitions, a machine gun, and an AT gun to crew, and also some medical supplies. So that's very, very interesting ability that no one really uses. Stormtroopers are going to be called into the fray by Cloudy with occasional rain, so of course making usage of his elite troops. Unfortunately for over here, what's the other guy's name? Keep forgetting. The Walking Dead. Fortunately, his machine gun was kind of caught in a very precarious position and was destroyed. He has, or rather had, 3 machine guns, one of which is Veteran C2. So that's very, very nice for the British. And as you can see, the flame, rather the incendiary half-track, incendiary infrared half-track, proving useful once again for the Germans, just spotting all these units despite just any kind of obstacle that are nearby. And Luke's is on the field for Jaho, went for both mechanized and battle group headquarters. That's kind of interesting, but in my opinion, this kind of a late Luke's shouldn't really work out. Unfortunately for the allies, they haven't really focused on anti-tank at all. They don't really have that many anti-tank units. They have the AT snipers, but they're very vulnerable to the Luke's, of course, especially with this low amount of HP. And we also have 2 mortar half-tracks by Talonfly who went for Spearhead Doctrine. So Spearhead Doctrine is going to be useful late game because of the Tiger and the fragmentation bombing, and also just provide all general purpose abilities such as the recon, the smoke for the tanks, and the mortar half-track, which is, as you can see, really nice to take out defensive support weapons and also snipers. We have a Tellermine by Talonfly, so that's good that he's making usage of his munitions that way, because he doesn't really have any grenadiers. He's going to be having a lot of munitions to plant down mines and call down airstrikes and the likes. So we also have fuel caches being built by all of the German players, and also a one munitions cache on the left side. So the cache advantage is kind of, rather, no one has really a cache advantage. As you can see, Kiske went for a lot of caches of his own. We also have 3 Bofors being built by The Walking Dead, 1 on the left side and 2 on the right side. Stanfoss is going to be used on them, so that's definitely making usage of his Royal Engineers, and this Bofors over here is kind of in big trouble because of the Swarmer Panzertrex that are going for it. He might deal a lot of damage to them, but he's probably going to die in the process. Yeah, 12 kills for the Bofors, but again, the Bofors is a fairly expensive thing to lose, so that's not as good as it could have been. We also have another infrared half-track, this time on the right side by Jaho. So the OKW player is definitely making good work with their supportive units, but we also have a pretty huge defensive emplacement being built by Jaho with his Volksgrenadiers. So that's going to be interesting to see if anyone tries to get around and take over that side. We have an AT gun also by The Walking Dead, but it's on the right side of the map where the enemy isn't really going to be focusing their armored efforts. Looks like the Lukes also somehow died. Not really sure where it died. Okay, so what happened here is, I'm guessing the mortar over here by Davide. No, it doesn't really have a vehicle kill. It might have not assigned it a vehicle kill. Something hit the mine over here, the Teller mine, and it killed the Lukes. So that's very interesting because the Lukes was standing on top of it. So that's very interesting. One of the mortar half-tracks going down from something? The snipers? The Bofors? The AT gun. Okay, interesting. So the AT gun managing to move up and take out one of the mortars, and also the Puma going down to the Bofors. So as you can see, the light vehicle approach that Jaho is taking is very weak to these Bofors because the Bofors are very good at destroying light vehicles. So a change of tactics is definitely in need of the Germans on the right side. On the left side, we have the huge SimCity that the Germans have built up, and it's pretty much going to be impregnable for a long time. Some constructs are going to be defending the middle BP with these sandbags, and that's mostly just a delaying tactic for the snipers. The snipers should be targeting the officer though, just allowing, or rather, just making the enemy units retreat. Not really much going on. A stolen 6-pounder anti-tank gun from The Walking Dead, going to be destroyed by the Bofors. On the left side, mortars by Claudia, and also his infantry is starting to suffer. We have a wipe by Kiske over here, going to be managing to wipe out one of the squads. We also have a pretty substantial infantry force by Onyxio, going to be forced to retreat by the incendiary barrage by Davide. And we also have a mine being placed by his own engineers. That's very interesting. And the mine is going to be blown up by the Panzer IV, so that's just very unlucky. 2 snipers are going to be trying to run away as soon as possible. Now they're going to be dealing some critical shots against the Panzer IV, but the Panzer IV just kind of shrugs them off and retreats. Shock troops are moving up way too close to the demo charge, so that's good that they retreated out of the way. And also the Panther IV, pretty much no counter from the shock troops. We have tier 4 by Davide, and a T-34-76 is on the field. Now, I myself would have gone for Su-76s with shock rifle frontline tactics. I would have gone with the tier 3 Su-76 and gotten out 3 of them to support the IS-2 later on. So, the demo charge is going to be... Nah, that was a bad demo charge. That would be a terrible demo charge. We also have a huge amount of anti-tank grenades being thrown at the Panzer IV. And where's the T-34? The T-34 is fighting on the left side. The T-34, if it had been here, it would have been able to easily destroy this. But bazookas from the riflemen finish it off. So we have an anti-building flame mortar support being used by The Walking Dead. Where? Over here? I don't see it on the map. Oh, it's over here. Again, that's really not too great. We also have an incendiary barrage being called in by Davide. Again, in my opinion, the munitions would be better spent on demo charges and mines, which he has been doing, so that's good. Fuck green. Not sure who green is for him. Cloudy with occasional rain. Yeah, I cannot switch colors because it loaded in as allies. Thanks. The Walking Dead thinks he's green. I don't know. Well, he is definitely green on my screen. I don't know. Green screens. So he's still attacking ground where the AT gun was because he kind of forgot to switch that off, which is kind of interesting. Again, he's got a lot of munitions float, so in my opinion, going for a lot of mines is kind of important for him, and also designating a command vehicle out of a universal carrier would be very important. Other than that, I don't really see many ways in which he could use those munitions. He could also get out an infantry section and upgrade it with flares, artillery flares. We also have a Cromwell out of him. He finally went for tier 3, and he went for hammer tactics, and then he went for a Cromwell, which is, in my opinion, a very big mistake. He should have gone for a Comet. So the T-34-76 is on prioritized vehicles, which means that he will not be shooting at these German infantry squads. And also, it's taking damage from the Jagdpanzer, but it's not firing back. I'm not sure why. It's definitely in range. I'm really baffled by that. And we also have a Katyusha out by Davide, so that's definitely a much better choice than T-34-76, and a much better reason to go tier 4. Now, the Katyusha, especially on this retreat point, when the Germans retreat, would be a very devastating thing indeed. We also have 2 Stormtrooper squads with Panzerschrecks. I don't really like Stormtroopers with Panzerschrecks. As you can see there, it costs 75. 75 munitions, and you get the detection ability, which is detects armor on the minimap. But in my opinion, it's not that good because you only get 1 Panzerschreck and you spend 75 munitions. It's a lot. So we have a comment over here by Ronald Michael, who also, of course, went for hammer tactics, which is going to be a good choice against the German medium armor. We also have a pretty big push by the Germans over here in the center. Some stormtroopers were called in. It looks like he tried to call them in at this building to support the assault, but the building was occupied by the captain, by Kiske, so the stormtroopers came from off map. We have a flaming barrage being called in. We're going to be forcing the enemy away from the VP, and this would be an excellent spot for a Katyusha. Not really sure where the Katyusha is. It's over here. It's ready to fire, it seems. It's definitely firing over here. The Austin going down from the Jackson that Kiske went for. Excellent choice to go for the Jackson, even if he was Armor Company, in my opinion. Because right now, the way the game is evolving, the Jackson is a better choice than the M10, because the Jackson is much stronger at these kinds of slugging matches. After all, one of it, the other name of the Jackson is the Slugger. It's much better at these slugging matches than the M10. The M10 is a much better flanking vehicle. So the T-34-76 is going to be pushing up, and if it did, it would destroy the Jagdpanzer, but unfortunately, he will play with caution, which is the correct move. You definitely don't want to be sending your T-34 into the fray randomly. We also have a Su-85 being built, which is an interesting choice. If it could get bet up, it would be really good, but there's a lot of Panzerschrecks on the field, which do counter the Su-85. So I'm really not too thrilled about that. We also have a second Jackson being built by Kiske. The crew is still pretty much green and having no experience. The other one being very close to Bet 1, where it gets the HVAP rounds, high velocity armor piercing. which are very, very good at destroying enemy armor. After a few of the German tanks received a few armor nerfs, the armor-piercing rounds from the Jackson have definitely gone up in just utility. So, on the right side, it's still a huge stalemate, and in my opinion, the Germans should definitely be switching tactics from these frontal assaults into Bofors emplacements. And also, this machine gun should be brought up to support the Bofors and deal some suppression against the enemy, but I'm not sure what else to say about the side. The Cromwell attempted to make push, but of course it was unsupported by infantry, it seems, and it was destroyed. It's just definitely a problem. You also have a into building flame mortar support being called in by the Walking Dead, who can call in an AVRE demolition specialist team, which would be a good choice right now considering the amount of static just units that the Germans have on both sides of the map. It would definitely be good. The Jackson being really lucky and bouncing a shot off the Jagdpanzer. Where's the Jagdpanzer? It's over here. Then it might have been something else, I don't know. It definitely looked like it bounced a shot out of something. Excellent Katyusha barrage on this entirety, and this lag, holy shit. On this entirety of the German blobbing emplacement thing, and it's going to deal a lot of damage and also destroy the Schwer Panzer headquarters. So that's definitely very nice. Interesting, the Jackson wasn't retreated fast enough, and the Jagdpanzer manages to get the finishing shot off and destroy it. We also have a Bofors being built, which is gonna definitely deal a lot of damage to this blob of Panzerschrecks, but the Panzerschrecks are also probably gonna destroy the Bofors in the meantime. We also have a something being called down, a flaming barrage by David, incendiary artillery barrage. Gonna be forcing away the Stormtroopers and saving the Bofors, which did get 11 kills out of that. And also we have the brace structure combined with Standfast. That's definitely gonna save the Bofors. So at this point, the Walking Dead can pretty much use Standfast on cooldown, and he's also going for a Comet tank instead of the AVRE. Now, in my opinion, that is a mistake because his own ally is going for Comets, and oh, very nice. Robo-Michael also has the Designate Command Vehicle option, and he went for it on his Universal Carrier, which is gonna give pretty much double, I believe it's double, they may have changed it, double rate of fire to his units around the command vehicle, and also the access to the Air Patrol command vehicle air support, which is pretty much a recon run around the command vehicle. We'll see if he uses it. It's just a really useful ability. So a nice, whatchamacallit, Panzerwerfer barrage, right, by Talonfry. Now, Talonfry with the Panzerwerfer gonna be pretty much very useful against the German, rather, allied defenses, but he seems to be playing very defensively with them, and also he's gonna have the Tiger available soon, so he might want to conserve fuel and not build any more Panzerwerfers. Other than this, it does seem like his Mortar Half-Track did a lot of damage. So the Mortar Half-Track is always a very good investment. Looks like a Schwer Panzer headquarters is going up again for Onyxen. I would have personally gone for a Mechanized and a King Tiger, but a Katyusha barrage is probably going to destroy this Panzer headquarters before I can even finish the building. Oh my god, that amount of damage on the Katyusha barrage. Definitely really, really devastating for the Germans. Doesn't look like the Schwer will be going down though. T-3476 surprisingly still alive, and W noting the success of his first Katyusha, going for a second Katyusha. So that is, I'm not sure about that. I'm actually not sure about that. It is probably a good decision in the long run, but it is going to delay his IS-2 a little bit, depending on how fast he will be gaining CPs, command points. Because right now, as you can see, he's got 12 CPs, and you will need 13 CPs for the S2. Now, this Shock Troop squad is definitely a mistake, in my opinion, because it will drain his manpower by 400, and in my opinion, waiting on the manpower for the IS-2 would have been a better choice. Now, we have a Panther on the field by Jaho that's pretty much going to put the nail in the coffin of the Walking Dead's usage of Bofors on the right side. Walking Dead is also pretty much in need of repairing his own Comet tank. And once he does, he's still going to be outmatched by the Panther, who has the support of his infantry. So I'm not sure about this ambulance, what it's doing. Yeah, I'm really not sure. Also, in my opinion, Kisuke going for the armor doctrine was a bit of a mistake, in my opinion. Well, not in my opinion. Definitely was a bit of a mistake. If he was going for Jackson's, perhaps Heavy Cavalry Company, if he had it, or just any other doctrine, perhaps Airborne would have been a better choice. Now, now, infantry would have also been a really good choice in this sort of environment because of the way the Germans are playing very defensively. So the priests would have been really useful. But at the same time, his own allies are providing the artillery he needs. So he won't really need the extra indirect fire capabilities. So the Germans right now are being whittled down just by artillery fire, and they're being pretty much they're letting it happen, and they also could just go for a lot of artillery. That amount of kills, 41, that's not healthy to allow yourself to get killed by Katyusha so hard. Like, okay, the main mistake that the Germans are making right now is they're playing way too defensively. They have the defensive units, but they could also be pushing up and just attempting to not allow the rocket artillery to destroy them entirely, just all the time. And also the other Katyusha by Davide went on the right side, which is a good choice. This is a really good choice. Supporting his ally right now is very important. Look at where he is on the map. He is at all 3 angles of the map. Do you see any German players doing that? No, because they're all being too defensively, too locally focused, and they're pretty much being destroyed piecemeal in their own little alcoves that they've built for themselves. And that's definitely a mistake. The Allies are playing much more coordinatively. Look at the British. Walking Dead. He is pretty much everywhere on the map as well. And look at the other British player, Robert Michael. He is all over the right side and the center. And that allows Kisuke to have a much more concentrated push going on the left side with his riflemen and his Jacksons that are more suited for a one-side push. What the hell? What is this artillery? Assault artillery by Jaho. So you'll see some Yag Tigers soon. It seems Jaho losing his Panther on the right side. How did that happen? Looks like the AT gun along with the Comet finishing off that Panther. That is definitely a huge mistake. And this is also a huge mistake. Colin Fry going for a Room Bear instead of a Tiger. Not sure why. Now, much an advocate for the Room Bear. I think it's a very underrated unit. But again, when you could be going for a Tiger, oh, that is very lucky to get that wipe on that constant shot. But it does look like the Su-85 is going to be pushed up way too far into a wall of AT guns and the Panzer Grenadiers to destroy the Room Bear, so it will be destroyed. Looks like the veteran Katyusha was also destroyed. Not sure where. Oh, that's really unfortunate that went down, and I didn't really realize it. Probably on the left side with all that artillery, might have been. So I also have another Katyusha barrage being fired over here where the AT guns are, but it was kind of missed. It was targeted over here instead of over here. If it was targeted over here, it might have done a little bit of damage. But it was, oh! Katyusha going down over here by the blob of OKW stuff. So at this point, I would stop going for Katyushas and I would go for the S2 definitely, and supporting it with a KV flanker tank would be a really good choice. Also, I would build another engineer squad if I was Davide. Building the other engineer squad and going for a lot of demo charges around here and also around here. T-3476 should definitely be played a lot more defensively because, in my opinion, well, not in my opinion, at this point in the game, the T-3476 is more of a just supportive anti-harassment unit against infantry. Now you might be saying, no one's making any harassment on this game. Well, you really cannot, because both sides have defensive positions everywhere around the map. That's just kind of the reason why I said that sometimes Port of Hamburg is a Axis-focused map, or rather Axis-favored map, because it is such a, especially on 4v4s, because it is such a small map for a 4v4 that you can pretty much fortify every approach and prevent the Allies from doing what they do best, which is flanking. Now, that is true for the British and the Soviets, but for the not the British and the Soviets, the Americans and the Soviets, but the British are very versatile faction, and they can do both mobile flanking and defensive slugging it out. So that's not being too much of a. You must hate my Boror force, huh? It's not a Boror force, it's a Bow force. It's a difference. Learn to read. Other than that, yeah, they do hate your Bofors because you built way too many of them. I don't really agree with the amount of spam of Bofors that The Walking Dead went for. It definitely gives a lot of usefulness to his doctrine pick. The 17-pounder anti-tank gun over here is in a good spot, but in my opinion, it would be better pointed about over here. As you can see, the AT gun is faced over here for some reason. Like, what do you expect to come from over here? The enemy is gonna come either from over here on the road, over here, still the road, or over here. So pretty much the best facing would be around here. So you can quickly turn to up to the road if you need it, or on the left side if you need it. In this case, if someone comes up from the left side, it's gonna take you like 4 seconds to turn the gun. At the same time, good usage on the Comet. Gonna be doing some damage in. What the fuck? Cloudy with occasional rain. Going for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 stormtroopers with Panzerschrecks. What? What is going on? What is he doing? I'm really not sure. Like, oh god. Anyway, the blob of Panzerschrecks is going to be doing some good damage to the Comet. The Comet should be attempting to run over the infantry and push them into the fire that Davide graciously provided his ally. The S2 was built by him, and you should definitely be upgrading the machine gun on top, the Dashaka. The reason you need to, with the S2, you need to upgrade this machine gun is because it is a incredibly good anti-infantry machine gun, and it's finally good. It's pretty much upgraded as soon as it comes up. It's just really good of a machine gun to pinto mount. It's better than the MG42 that the Germans use, and also because the IS-2, or the S-2 is a very inaccurate tank. The extra accuracy of the machine gun that just provides the secure damage, it's just really good. So a nice fragmentation bombing by Talonfly, gonna be doing some good damage to the Comet. The Comet attempting to retreat and repair. We have artillery cover being called in by the British, but I'm not really sure where it was. T-3476 pushing up and doing some good damage to the battle group headquarters, but it looks like the Jagdpanzer is dealing some good damage to it, and it should be running away. But we also have a 17-pounder assisting, and the Jagdpanzer gonna be destroying the T-34. No, yeah, it's destroying the T-3476, but also going down. So that's definitely not a good trade for the Germans, and pretty much everything goes down over here. S2 gonna be closing in the distance, but there's really not much to do anymore. On the right side, we have a pretty huge blobbing attack by Germans, but it will completely fail thanks to the better machine guns, Comet, and the Bofors on the right side by the Allies. So we also have a flaming barrage being called in. It's gonna pretty much seal the deal on the retreat. Greetings from Stalin. Pretty much. That was pretty much greetings from Stalin, especially that Katyusha. Yeah, so what could the Germans have done differently? Well, definitely not blobbing as much and not playing defensively as much. Yeah, they kind of allowed themselves to receive the greetings by Stalin with the Katyusha there. And also, they kind of threw a lot of their units away in futile attacks against the Bofors emplacements and in general just the defenses of the Allies, which would have been better if they had gone for a lot more artillery in their builds, but also a lot more. Well, either would have gone for a lot of artillery in their builds and played defensively, or would have gone for a lot more mobile force and tried to destroy the emplacements of flanking maneuvers and smoke and etc., and trying to avoid the artillery. Get my tank not. Oh god. Panzerwerfer, not sure what it's doing. Oh, here's where the Katyusha died. I'm guessing this was the better one. We also have the Tiger Ace on the field by Cloudy, but Cloudy is just clearly not interested. He's just like, no. How is this Panzerwerfer still alive? He's like literally behind enemy lines. I'm really sorry for the choppiness. I'm really not quite sure why it's being really choppy, the replay. I'm guessing I just did something. Yeah, I just did something like I alt-tabbed by mistake or something. I don't know. Oh yeah, right. I know why. It's because they switched the HUD. Look, when it switches the HUD, it just fucking destroys the game. Look at this shit. And now I'm gonna switch it again, and it destroys the game again. And it also pretty much destroys the FPS for the rest of the game. Oh god, this lag. So this is pretty much GG. Whatever. Like, pretty much the mistakes the Germans did are common to all of the players, so I'm not really gonna reiterate it 4 times in a row. Talking about the Allies, Kiske, bad doctrine selection for the strategy he was going for, but the strategy he was going for was sound with the Jacksons and the upgraded riflemen to support. It's just pretty much bread and butter USF, so there's really no issue with there. Davide, in my opinion, the tier 4 might not have been the best choice, but again, the Katyusha proved me wrong. Su-76s are still really good in my opinion, compared to Su-85s. The S2 was definitely a good choice, but it came a bit too late because of the fact that he built, in my opinion, too many tier 4 units. And other than that, not really much. Perhaps more usage of his munitions and mines and damage charges instead of incendiary artillery barrages. But other than that, it's fine. Also, the shock troops that he did build, he lost them. So a bit more careful with the shock troops would be very nice. So the game is finally over and it's laggy as shit. Now, Robert Michael went for an interesting sniper strategy earlier on, but he lost his snipers, which is definitely kind of bad. Good on him to get the comet out early. But he didn't get any more comets, and as you can see, he's got a lot of resources. He's got pretty much enough resources for free extra comets, so he should have been playing more aggressively with the comets he had and should have been building more comets. That's pretty much the gist of him. He didn't really go for much defenses, which is, in my opinion, pretty good. Went for some Royal Engineer recovery squads, but he wasn't really able to make use of them. Perhaps a little bit more resupply operations would have been good. And possibly also using the extra resources he's got to turn this building into a forward headquarters. In case you don't know, where is he? So I can see it. Please. Damn this lag. Forward operating observation post from this doctrine allows you to call off, I believe, off the top of my head, recon runs, strafing runs, the Hawker Typhoon strafe of the Vanguard operations, it's the same one, for 200 munitions. Some kind of artillery, I'm pretty sure. There's just a lot of stuff that you can call down with the observation post. And I believe the recon run is free. I'm not sure. It's just a very expensive, both in terms of munitions and in terms of, as you can see, manpower and fuel. So it's just a really weird thing. And I believe you can reinforce off the territory as well. Yeah, I would really like to have this commander, but I don't. New war spoils, please. I'm gonna buy it and, I don't know, just play around with it. The Walking Dead. The Walking Dead should have gone for an AVRE, less emplacements, even though that did work out for him. Not really sure what the Bofors armor does on the bulletin over here, because it can't really bounce off. I guess it's just a flat reduction on damage, maybe a 5% reduction on damage, which might be interesting. The Cromwell was definitely a mistake that he went for. He had the Hammer Tactics unlocked, so the Cromwell was really no just choice that was just even considerable for him. Other than that, really no issue with it there. So I want to thank you all for watching. I hope you enjoyed the Stormtrooper blob that didn't really do much. And I hope you learned something from the cast, and I hope I'll see you soon.